Because of gravity, we are constantly being pulled down towards the earth. And the best way to strengthen the body is to defy gravity. That's why rebounding is such a great exercise, to strengthen every single cell in the body. But today, many women are suffering from prolapse. It can be prolapse of the bladder, it could be prolapse of the vagina, of the cervix, of the uterus. It could even be prolapse of the colon. So what can be done? If a woman goes to the doctor, he will suggest that he operate on her, and he could use some mesh and sew that in and pull the prolapse up. You may have heard that there are many women that have had the mesh sewed in only to have worse problems. There are some women that have had the prolapse and had mesh sewed in, and it's been really good, it's helped. Is the problem the mesh? The problem is not the mesh. The only reason the doctor uses the mesh is because the muscles in the woman's pelvic floor are so weak, he's got nothing to sew it together with. We had two women, they came about 6 months apart, this is a few years ago now. They were both in their, one was late 40s, one was early 50s. They both had prolapse. They both had the operation where the mesh was sewn in to try and hold up the prolapse. It was unsuccessful. They had the terrible discomfort of the prolapse and the mesh mixed up with it, which they had to endure for another 6 months before finally they could get in and have their whole uterus cut out. And when they heard what you can do for a prolapse, they were very sad. They were very sad that they had not known. No wonder Ellen White says the only hope of better things is the education of people in the right principles. So what can be done? Number one, it's time to nourish the cells with good nutrition. Ideally organic. Nourish every cell in the body. And we nourish the cell by the food that we are eating. We boost digestion. We make sure that every cell in the body is hydrated, well hydrated. We make sure that every cell in the body is getting 8 hours sleep every night. We're getting back to the true remedies. 8 hours sleep a night. Nightly. That's every night. Rome wasn't built in a day. If you're used to 5 hours sleep a night and going to bed at midnight, start little by little by little and train your mind, train your body back into better habits of sleep. You can do that. 8 hours sleep nightly is of the utmost importance. And it's time to strengthen those cells. Remember, muscle knows no age. Whether you're 9 or 90, you can have strong muscles. So exercise is vital. So what is the best exercise for someone that has prolapse? It's rebounding. What rebounding does is it strengthens every single cell in the body. One lady said, I can't rebound. If I get on the rebounder, I start jumping and some urine comes out. So I said, well, go to the bathroom first, empty that bladder, and then when you get on the rebounder, you will find that you won't lose the urine. And the fact that you do lose a little urine indicates that that's the very muscle that it is strengthening. So this is strengthening the pelvic girdle from the outside. Also push-ups. If you can't do push-ups on the floor, do ladies push-ups on your knees. If you can't do ladies push-ups on your knees, start with the wall. And the further out you go from the wall, the stronger is the push-up. Start every single day and build your body up. Rome wasn't built in a day. Every day do it. But also another great way to strengthen is the exercise bike. Exercise bike. Also, it's a good idea to look at some core strengthening exercises. You've got to exercise every single day. Maybe you'll alternate. Maybe one day do your core strengthening. Maybe another day the exercise bike. But ideally try and do the rebounder every day. Prolapses happen because the muscles are so weak they're allowing the prolapse to fall down. So we have to strengthen those muscles. We have to strengthen them because they're made up of cells. They need nourishment, they need hydration, they need to be slept every night. And stop anything that is robbing your body of the minerals that it needs to be strong. There's your refined sugar. There's your caffeines. Most people don't realise that those cups of coffee every day with that teaspoon of sugar is contributing to the prolapse. And you can strengthen internally. So what's the internal strengthener? There's those little yoni stones. You can order yoni stones online, and the yoni stones are made out of nephrite jade. So what the woman does, she inserts the yoni stone until it touches the cervix. So the biggest stone is probably about that size. The middle-sized stone would be about this size, and then the smallest stone would be around this size. And there are two little holes at the bottom where the woman can put some dental floss in there for easy extraction. So she begins by inserting the larger stone. She inserts it until it touches the cervix, and she wears it for 1 hour a day, week 1. 2 hours a day, week 2. 3 hours a day, week 3. 4 hours a day, week 4. 5 hours a day, week 5. Then she wears it for 5 hours a day for maybe the next 6 months. By then her pelvic girdle is so strong that she can go to the middle-sized stone. And then she wears that for 5 hours a day for maybe 6 months, and then she can go to the smallest stone. My daughter had a home birth. This is 10 years ago now, and her midwife, who was in her 50s, told her the story of how she had a prolapse. She said the doctor wanted to sew mesh in, so she Googled prolapse and discovered the yoni stones. She ordered them, she began to wear them. After 3 months, she went back to the doctor. The doctor said, I don't understand this, but you don't have a prolapse anymore. She had just strengthened her pelvic girdle floor, which started to pull her cervix and her uterus up into its right place. Now, this is a very old remedy. There's a chair, and you get a board and you put the board against the chair. There's the board. Now the board might be, for me it might be 5 foot long, and you put a little pillow there. There's a pillow, and then the person lays. And the body's like this. Here's the torso, and there's the thighs, and the legs come down like this and rest on there. And there's the person lying on the slant board. It's called a slant board. And what's happening is when a person lies like that, the internal organs are all falling upwards. And so when the woman lies like that, she might lie like that for 10 minutes a day, get a good book, listen to a nice music or a nice presentation. And does it have to be 10 minutes? It can be longer if you're comfortable. And what happens is when the lady stands up, the internal organs will often stay into place maybe for a few hours, and then they might start to drop down. The first day they might stay in place for 3 hours. The next day they might stay in place for 3.5 hours. The next day they might stay in place for 4 hours. Can you see what's happening here? Every day that she does it, they will stay into place longer and longer and longer, especially at the same time she's also doing all of this. There is another simple way that she can do it. And here's the bed, and it's a way that you lie on the bed. This is the bed. Excuse my drawings, I'm not the best drawer, but you get the gist. And there's her pillow. And what she does is when she lays in bed at night, she takes this position. So her legs are like that. She takes that position and she holds that position for 5 minutes. So can you see what's happening? Again, her internal organs are falling up. She takes that position for 5 minutes. That's a good time to pray. And then after 5 minutes, she rolls over onto her side. So what's happened is her internal organs have fallen up into place. She rolls over on her side and goes to sleep. So her internal organs are staying in place all night. The next day when she gets up, they might stay in place for 3 hours. The next day they might stay in place 3.5 hours. The next day they might stay in place 4 hours. Can you see, little by little by little, she's retraining her organs back into place. And especially if in the afternoon after lunch she has a little lie on the slant board. One lady told me that she just got a cupboard door from the shed and she laid that against the lounge. But you also can get some things in gyms that are slant boards. So the slant board. So we'll call this the knee-chest position because your knees and your chest are just about touching. So number 7, slant board. Slant board for 10 minutes a day. That's a really old remedy. If you had a prolapse 60 years ago, the doctor would often tell you to use the slant board. And the other one is the knee-chest. Knee-chest position before sleep. The human body is designed to heal itself, and it'll heal itself if you give it the right condition. And these simple lifestyle changes, these simple things that you can implement yourself, little by little by little, will bring about healing. The human body is designed to heal itself, and it'll heal itself if you give it the right conditions. Many people do not know those conditions. They do not know what to do. And you know what else I love about this? This isn't going to cost a lot of money, is it? And when I meet women who have had the surgery and it didn't work, and then they have to wait another 6 months to have their whole uterus taken out so it can't prolapse anymore, to me it is not really solving the problem. And it's expensive. It's expensive in time, it's expensive in money, and it's expensive in the toll that it takes on a body. But remember Galatians 6 verse 9, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we will reap if we faint not. Little by little by little, these simple principles work, and little by little they can bring about a healing response in the body. Also in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 35, cast not away therefore thy confidence, in the which is great recompense of reward, for ye have need of patience, in that after you have done the will of God, you might receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come, and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. But we are not of them that draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe in the saving of the soul.